off, I really love the design of this bike. Yeah, the front brake is just too weak for this. What's up, Bike Life gang? Welcome to another video. This week KTM gave me the 690 Enduro to try out for a little while my bike is still at the shop. So we'll put this thing to the test. I've got a couple of things planned for it. I'll probably cut this video over a couple of days. I'm not exactly sure how, but stay tuned and let's have a look what this bike can do. Yeah, it's a beautiful day today, guys. The sun is out, the temperature is not too warm, not too cold. I couldn't be happier right now because I've got a week off. I've got a super nice bike under me and I'm actually on my way to Frankfurt. And Frankfurt is about a 3-hour ride from where I live. And I thought I would just take the scenic route there, take the bike with me and try it out over a couple of days. And actually I've got a bit of luggage with me too. I'm not sure if you could see it just now, but yeah, I'm actually really trying the bike out, I think the way it's supposed to be used. I've got a big waterproof bag on it in the back, and yeah, the idea is, as always, I'm gonna try this bike on the highway. I'm gonna try it on country roads. I'll put it through some curves, and of course it's an enduro bike, so I will try to put it through some dirt as well. And that's why probably I'll cut this video over a few days, because once I arrive in Frankfurt I'll see where I can find some places to really try this thing out. On my way there, I hope we can enjoy a couple of curves already, and I'll give you my impressions just from riding the bike on the road. So far, impressions are really good. What are the big differences between the SMC R and this one? Just to get that out of the way, for me the biggest differences are mainly just two. One is, or maybe three. One big difference is the front brake. That's something you immediately notice when you come from the SMC R. The front brake on this bike is just very mushy compared to the SMC R. And that's really just the best way you can explain it. If you're wondering why I'm slowing down so much, there's a light right here, a speed light, and luckily Kalimoto just told me that it was coming up. Yeah, so the front brake is an enduro front brake, so of course it can't compete with a supermoto one, but at the end of the day, thank you. At the end of the day, it does what it's supposed to do. It's not a terrible brake, but it's obviously something you notice coming from the SMC R. Something else I noticed right away is, of course, the seat height. You do feel that it's a bit taller because you have larger wheels. So that's something I really enjoy, because yeah, I'm a very tall person and I prefer the higher seat. For those of you who are maybe shorter and are struggling on the SMC R already, might be something to consider, but I wouldn't say it's a massive difference. And the third thing that you notice right away is the gearing, which of course is different as well, since it's geared for enduro. I think it has the 15-tooth front sprocket stock, and I actually really prefer that. I've changed it on my SMC R as well, and the bike stock runs a lot calmer when you're going through the city and when you're going at low RPMs in general. We're in some more curvy territory now, so I've just had a nice set of curves a minute ago and the bike felt really good. So let's see now. I think We have a bit of freeway. Yeah, the front brake. Whoa! Alright, there was something in the curve there. I just lost traction on the back tire. But you notice the front brake immediately when you try and brake into the curves. You just don't have the same stopping power. But the leaning and the rest of it, basically, besides the brakes, feels very natural. Really enjoying it. But I do have to remind myself that I need a little bit longer to brake. It's a beautiful road. Say the fact that this bike is running on enduro tires and enduro wheels, considering that it's handling really well in the curves. I mean, these are a little bit wider curves, so I still have to test it when it gets a lot tighter, but so far really good. Yeah, the front brake is just too weak for this kind of stuff. I mean, the bike is awesome, runs perfect. Like, you feel great in the curves, just like with the SMC R. So I thought the biggest difference would be, you know, the bigger wheels, less grip, the way that the suspension behaves, and Jesus fuck, come on, man. But at the end of the day, all of that really isn't the issue. The biggest gripe for me is the front brake. It's just the enduro front brake is not enough for this kind of riding. And I mean, right now what I'm doing is still kind of light, of course. I'm not doing like crazy fast riding, and I'm also not doing constant curves, you know. And I think if we were doing that with this bike, eventually the front brake would just overheat and you would just lose it completely. So that's just as a side note. But I mean, of course, we're trying something now that the bike isn't designed for, so it's not really a criticism or anything. It's just an observation, because I know that a lot of us, ideally, we would want an enduro and an SMC R all in one. But these roads are absolutely perfect. I mean, for these kinds of really rough streets, the enduro is obviously great, because the suspension just eats everything. And you do notice that with the SMC R, you would really feel the bumps a lot more. Oh. Okay, so that was the brake test of the 690. They work. Yeah, so I think I picked a worthy spot to do a walk around, guys. As I said, I'm on my way to Frankfurt, so that's why the big bag in the back. But yeah, I thought I would still do the walk around here where it's nice and pretty and we have a nice view as well. And just straight off, I really love the design of this bike. I think KTM nailed it this year, especially with the Enduro. I love the neon orange here and all around the bike. It just looks really great. I wouldn't want to change anything on it. If we move to the front, the bike is still missing an LED headlight, but hey, I don't think KTM is ever really gonna do anything about that, at least for a while. But I also think from the front just looks nice. I love the long front fender and the orange plastics. And yeah, if we move to this side, there's nothing really that has changed much here. And coming around, we of course have the exhaust, aka the whale, which is always ugly. It's probably the best performing one you can put on this bike, but it's also the ugliest one, so you can make your choice there. And also, just to mention quickly, here's the front brake. So I'll probably put a picture here somewhere of the caliper on the SMC R, which is much larger, and that's also why you have a lot less stopping power on the enduro bikes. On the other end, they're a lot more compact, so when you're off-road, it's a lot more difficult for the caliper to brake and get caught somewhere. One last thing that I wanted to mention for those of you who are new to the bike is the map switch here. You have two modes, 1 and 2. 1 is the street mode or the relaxed mode, and 2 is the off-road and more aggressive mode. You really do notice the difference between the two, in my opinion, on this bike. On the SMCRs, I never really noticed that much of a difference, but mode 2 definitely is more aggressive. And then finally you also have the TC, so the traction control switch. You can turn traction control on and off, so when you're off-road you of course want it off, so you can lock the rear end and yeah, just ride the bike as usual. Alright, so that's a quick walk around, and I will see you guys back on the bike. Alright guys, we're about to enter the Autobahn, so that means, as usual, we're gonna do some speed testing. Come on, now let's get it. Say fairly around 180, maybe 78, because it was going downhill a little bit, but that is insanely fast for an enduro bike. Alright guys, I have made it. I'm just refueling now, and in a couple of minutes I'll make it to Frankfurt. So this was day one. Unfortunately the GoPro cut out a lot of the footage that I got in the last 2 hours. Somehow the camera overheated and deleted all the files. But overall impressions on the first day were really good. I did around an hour of just really tight twisties just now, and it was amazing. Really the only thing is the front brake, of course, like I already said, but I mean, you can't complain about it because it's an enduro bike. And other than that, you know, the wheels feel great. You have a lot of grip. But yeah, I will test the thing tomorrow a little bit more, especially in the dirt. So let's see then.